The time is 6 p.m. The Pelican Rapids City Council meeting of 27 January 2026 is called to order. I ask those in our council chambers if you'd please sign your name on the clipboard on the back desk by the door where you entered this evening, and also everyone to please put their phones on vibrate. Roll call of members. Danielle?
Councilmember Steve Strand.
Here.
Councilmember Shelley Dumringer.
Here.
Councilmember Kurt Markgraf.
Here.
Councilmember Don Perrin.
Here.
And Mayor Brent Frazier.
Here, I want to welcome each and every one of you to our city council meeting, those here in person, also those joining us by Zoom. Remember, our city council meetings are on the Pelican Rapids YouTube channel and also on channel 14 on Wednesday evenings. I just have one announcement for the next couple of weeks. Our next city council meeting is slated for Tuesday, February 10th, 6 p.m. here at City Council Chambers. Any other announcements? Any other announcements? Hearing none, if we all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Item 2 is citizens' comments. I see no one in the audience here to speak to citizens' comments unless someone else does. Item number 3 is additions and deletions. I have one deletion. Please delete item number 4E, intent to certify taxes. Delete item 4E, intent to certify taxes. And one addition, item number 11, emergency management tabletop exercise. Item number 11 will be addition of emergency management tabletop exercise. Any other additions or deletions?
Will you pull number, was it 7? 7. 6. I'm sorry.
Pull 6? What?
Yeah. Pull item 6. That's part of the meeting, but.
For the agenda?
Yeah.
You don't, I guess I don't understand.
Well, I don't like it the way it is, so.
You want to speak to that then at that point, or not?
I don't want it, so.
So delete item 6?
6, yes. Because when I miss a meeting, you guys slip stuff in on me.
I was here for part of that meeting. I wasn't for the whole thing. Do you want to speak to that before we put it on the agenda the next time? So delete it?
This one is just for discussion, and it's not for approval or anything, so there's nothing in stone or anything. This was to bring to the council to discuss, so.
We can discuss it.
There can be changes or wipe it out altogether or whatever, so.
Yeah. Is that okay?
Okay. Wait.
Okay.
We'll plan on having an ordinance committee meeting before the final, whatever. is
All right,
decided.
all right.
So undelete it?
Yeah, undelete it. Yeah, we'll leave it on there. Okay, hearing that, is there a motion to approve with the addition of item number 11 and delete item number 4E?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Motion second. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, the same. Motion carried. Item number 4, approval of consent agenda, which I will read. Item number 4A is approval of council minutes from January 13th, 2026. 4B is approval of accounts payable listing. 4C1 is utility report in the package. There's actually 2 reports in there. Item 4C2 is liquor store report in the packet. Item 4C3 is police report in the packet. And item 4D is household hazardous waste day, which is scheduled for August 5th, 2026 from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Motion second. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. Item number 5, the agenda item is Red Cross, and this evening we have Kimberly Vossateg here from Red Cross, and she'll explain what region she encompasses. And we got to know Kimberly at our Emergency Management Summit meeting at Pelican Rapids High School this October, and she made a presentation there, and we chatted, and she agreed to come and tell a little bit about Red Cross. And we all know when disaster strikes in many areas, the Red Cross is usually some of the first people on the ground to be there. So, Kimberly, the floor is yours.
I didn't prepare a presentation, but I do have a handout for you guys. I will bring that around.
Thank you.
I talk a lot, and if I forget something, I might as well have a handout
Thank
just
you.
in case.
Thank you.
Kimberly, before you begin, do you want to tell us your past ties to Pelican Rapids?
Yeah. So I went to elementary school here for a couple of years. We were a family in North Fargo, and we had a lake home on Lizzie. And we were at the point of 2 kids. My dad traveled. My mom worked at Merit Care. Between 2 dogs, too, and coming to the lake every weekend, it was, I think they were like, what are we doing? Let's spend more time at the lake. So we sold the lake cabin on Lizzie and then moved in over on Franklin, right behind the elk farm that's up there. And we lived there for about 4 or 5 years. You just reminded me I was there for the 96, 97 episode of all the snow. I remember being snowed in and horrible
Yeah.
with my mom and my brother. We had nothing to do. So we actually got along, which was
Okay.
fun. But yeah, I went to the elementary school here. I think it was 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade.
Okay.
Mr. Swanson, is that a name?
Who?
Mr. Swanson?
Schwantz.
Schwanson.
Schwantz.
Okay, that was one of them too.
Okay.
They're all coming back to me, all these names.
Okay.
So,
Well,
so it was really
thank you.
fun to have that at the
Yeah.
emergency management. So, yeah, the tie is kind of cool. But I have been the executive director for the American Red Cross for 2 years now. I have 36 counties, and I'm part of the Eastern North Dakota, Northwest Minnesota chapter. That, along with my name, is massive to say when I do my introductions. But we are part of the MINDAX region. And then it gets larger to the division, and then it gets larger to the National Red Cross, and then we go even larger to the international. So I have 36 counties and 3 tribal nations that I am responsible for. And really the idea of coming to talk to you tonight is just to build that partnership between us as a national, regional, county, community organization to you. So we are that nonprofit here in the community. With that national resource if we need it and when we need it. We do a lot of things at the American Red Cross, like you said, Mayor. You know, a lot of that first responder actions that we do, you'll see it largely on a larger scale when something large happens. But we're here each and every single day helping home fires, and that if any weather were to happen, that we'll talk more on the tabletop. So really with our thing, it's really that preparedness piece. How do we get our communities prepared to know what to do when something happens? So is it smoke alarm installations, making sure people's homes are safe? Is it talking to kiddos to make sure K through 2 that they know what to do when that fire alarm or smoke alarm goes off? We have a free program to offer free smoke alarms to go into homes. So our volunteers come and install them for free. So it's providing that kind of that incentive to get it done, because some people right now, you know, paying for groceries or paying for a smoke alarm, groceries come first, which they should. But that's where we can help smaller communities with that. We talk about a lot of the weather with the winter storms. So luckily not hitting us right now. I feel bad for the southern states, but my goodness, they, you know. I think my kiddo this morning said something like, Mom, it's not cold there. Like, it's cold here. Why are we not on the news? And it's, you know, like, we're used to it. But getting to know that weather, if it's winter weather, is it the summer weather, wildfire season, you know, our fires that are happening, the tornadoes that we've been experiencing. Last year in 2025 in June, July, we did get hit as a chapter. We got hit hard with those tornadoes, and it did impact us. And it impacted us in the sense that we were watching the weather come in that whole night long, and we were there at our office at 5 o'clock ready to go. But knowing that our communities also aren't they weren't ready to go. They were sleeping because they knew they couldn't do anything. So we were calling our emergency managers trying to get out there, and they needed rest too because they were watching the exact same thing we were. But getting out there and finally finding the impacted regions and the impacted homes, the impacted citizens, they were already getting to work and putting and rebuilding their lives, that's part of that resiliency part of our communities that is so good, that a lot of people don't get to see unless there's a disaster. A lot of the things too that we do, 90% of us, our workforce is volunteers. So we're always trying to find those volunteers. We're looking for that for communities like Pelican Rapids to step up and kind of look at a shelter. Who would be that shelter that would open in case something were to happen? And that's something we work with our emergency management team on. But is there a partner shelter we can utilize and use a church and train the church members to open that shelter? So they at least can run it until we get there, and then we can take over and do everything. So it's really trying to train people on what we know and what we do best, so we can be there immediately for our citizens and our communities. We do have other areas where I can keep talking, but I will wrap up a little bit, I think. We do have our amazing Service the Armed Forces arm that we have that works with our military and our veterans. So that's something really cool, that we are the only organization that does the emergency communications to our military members and their families if crisis were to happen and they would be overseas. And we also do yellow ribbons and stand downs. And we do have some financial areas where we can help if a veteran is struggling. So we always offer that all the time. So if you know any veterans or have that, we can always get you in contact. And then my last plug I was going to do was for blood. You guys are really good blood donors here in Pelican Rapids. We have the Barnett Dunvilla that does blood drives about every quarter, and then Lake Region Electrical Co-op does it as well. So we have about 35% of the national blood supply relies on the Red Cross, and we are in an emergency blood shortage right now. So I did not look, but I know the second week of February we're going to be in Fargo doing some blood drives. So I'm assuming that we'll have some around that same time around the Otter Trail area. But we really appreciate those donors that keep coming back. And I've not been to the barn in Dunvilla. I remember the old Dunvilla. There's Shirley temples out there on the deck. But yeah, I think, it's just a great partnership. I know you guys already know a little bit about us, but I can open it up for any questions.
Yeah. Questions from the
Talk
council?
fast.
Gotta have some questions. What summertime season's the busiest for you? Red Cross?
Not really.
Oh, really?
It would be our November, December, January timeframe when we start getting colder. We had about 10 to 12 deaths due to fires within our region in that November, December timeframe, which is always horrific to see. Especially I've never had a home fire, but I've had a friend that had a home fire, and I was there, and just the trauma that comes with that, it stays with you. It's the craziest thing. And I think we're able to offer with our volunteer services. We have the disaster mental health. We have the disaster health services. It's that education around if a fire were to happen, not to use your medication, that everything can alter. Their clothing, everything it still has that smell, and it will have that smell. And how do you walk through that? So we have amazing volunteers that help and step in that role, but I think that would be the busiest time frame for us. Nationally wise, hurricane season, but we got really lucky this year. Really, really lucky.
Do you deploy some of your personnel
We do,
to other
yeah.
parts of the state?
We actually have 2 volunteers right now from our chapter, Paula and Scott. They are actually down in Texas at shelters because of the winter storm. So they left, today's Tuesday, they left on Sunday. So they flew out, and they fly out for 2 weeks, which is a really incredible thing to give back. We've had Sandra Hegenes, who's gone to Alaska when happened. She was up there for 3 weeks doing shelter. I've deployed up to Iowa. Right as soon as I started, it was a flood. So I raised my head and said, that's the thing that I'm going to probably deal with, right? So let's get used to it. Let me see what it is. Let me see the disaster. And it was probably a town this size. And I was telling the mayor, the idea of citizens stepping up to the plate, that's what they want to do. That's what we do. That's what we were taught. But having the the city come in and say, oh, wait, but you're on step 2, we're on step 5. So how do we get you now over here to up here? How do we, because there is so much people wanting to do and fix. And that's what we are. That's what Midwest, we don't sit. Just even after the disaster in June, July, no one sat. And even Fargo-Moorhead area, we were out bringing bobcats and random equipment out to people's homes, and they were just looking at us saying, like, what do I do with it? Because it's that volunteer management, it's all that coming together, people wanting to help. So yeah, I think I've seen the worst. I went to Hurricane Helene. I deployed the day after that hit, and that changed me. That was a 2-week deployment as well, but I had never seen mountains like been through that, but seeing how much, and I've never been scared of water. Now I'm deathly scared of the water, of what it can do. Seeing the roadways washed away and vehicles still up in trees, and knowing that searching was still going on and all of that, but you get to see the mission in person, you get to see what that humanity brings, what that humanitarian service is, and everyone's very much alike in that sense of everyone's wanting to help. So I think that's what I can bring to, and that's what the American Red Cross brings to the communities that we help and serve.
Okay. Any questions? Any questions? If not, we thank you for being here this evening, your presentation, and get a little more to know about Red Cross. And later on this evening, that agenda addition is about emergency tabletop exercise, what the council will plan to do for tabletop exercise yet this spring.
Absolutely.
So, thank you kindly.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 6, Chapter 7 revisions, which were in your packet. Lance, do you want to speak to that?
Yep, I'll just emphasize that we're not looking for any kind of decisions on this at all. This is just for discussion and for direction. So if you remember last fall, we added some parking regulations and things, and with feedback from Chief Todd and Brian, it's really working well as far as getting equipment through those streets now, and it's really helped out. So then they came back with some additional areas of concern, and we added some language in here, and then I'll just show you some maps here to try and go through what has been done and what is proposed here and just in this section. So everything in green is what we've talked about before, and that's in place and things are working well. So this is up on 10th here. Between Ridgecrest and Maplewood, there's no parking on this stretch. Here's a new one. So this is yellow here up on River Road and 3rd Street Northeast. So 3rd Street Northeast, no parking on the east side, and then River Road, no parking on the north. These are all already in place and working well here in the northwest. And then here's some additions here in the southeast. So currently we have no parking here on 1st Avenue just for this block. They wanted to extend that all the way out to 8th on the south side. And then 1st Street on the east side from 1st Avenue to 5th Avenue. So those would be additions that we talked about. And then another addition here is in the southwest on 3rd Street, southwest on the east side. That's not what I want. I think I covered all the additions, didn't I? Todd?
Yeah, I'd also like to mention another area, which maybe we'll see where the conversation goes. Brian and I had quite a few conversations leading up to that meeting where we had added these streets. These areas are all areas that have pockets of concern. First Ave southeast, I can say that whole stretch of First Ave southeast is not a problem, but there's enough pockets of problems that we just said that it was easier just to do the whole stretch. The one that we had, that It escaped me on the day of the meeting. I would also like the council to have think about no parking on Broadway from 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. And that would be, again, it would leave the downtown area open for business and for bar business and everything like that, but it would get the vehicles off of the road to facilitate any of the things that our public works need to be doing, whether it's plowing, whether it's watering, whether it's sweeping. It would clear, and there aren't, if you drive up and down Broadway, there's probably 2 to 3 cars that are regularly out there, and they all have places that they can park somewhere else. There is a public parking lot down there. I mean, there's alternatives. But if you have questions on any of these added areas, I'd be happy to speak to them if you're wondering why we added them.
Councilman Strand, did you have a
Is that
question?
part of what you're proposing tonight?
It is not, it was not added language because we missed it, but I mean, it would be part of the same conversation, I mean, or not. I mean,
That's a whole different deal.
What is?
Broadway, no parking.
The council can parse out whatever they want, this is just a recommendation. They were saying, Brian and I are both in agreement on the fact that would serve us well, would serve the community well. Vehicles, even though we write tickets, and we had some First Street Southeast, I'll use as an example. Every vehicle that was parked there that was causing parking issues, we had a situation during the last snow. It was the snow, it wasn't the last snow, it was the snow on the 29th, so it's 2-3 weeks ago now. We had vehicles parked on both sides of the road, and they were far enough off of the curb that we couldn't get through. Like, I couldn't even get through in the squad car. And so I was sitting down there, I'll be honest, I started off with writing everybody a ticket that was parked there because they're in violation of our snow emergency ordinance. But then I spent a couple hours pounding on doors trying to find out whose vehicles they were, because it was either that or tow them, right? And that would have been a headache in and of itself. So I got the owners to get out there and move their vehicles. But there's some, short of taking some of these steps, that can happen on every snow event. So that's why but again, the council can parse out whatever they want.
What were the hours on Broadway again?
The idea that Brian and I had talked about was 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. so that night business would likely be gone, and the morning business hasn't gotten there yet. But that was, and the idea is for plowing, they can potentially clear to the curb even on the days when there's not a snow event, because there's no vehicles down there. Because those vehicles otherwise can be there, and it's hard to clean up around it because they can legally be there, because we don't have 2 inches of new snow. So this would allow them to get in and clean whenever they deemed it necessary. So it was just an idea, like I say. Right now, by my estimation, there's 2 to 3 vehicles that are regularly parked out there.
And if you don't like the idea of it being all year round, that could be one of those that's October to May or something, or April, if you don't like that idea for the summertime.
When do they usually sweep Main Street? What time of day?
It's either 4 a.m. or in the evening. But
They've been doing it more in the evening, but Brian, based on this conversation, if this were to go through, he would force that shift, and it would happen earlier in the morning so that they could be out there getting it done.
Questions from the council?
So are we deciding this now?
No, just for discussion.
We'll take any recommendations or any suggestions from the council tonight, and then we'll review it again at the next ordinance committee meeting and talk through it there again too, so.
I just want to be a friendly town and not have a tourist pull up and then, oh, no, they have to read that. I don't want that. And downtown is really a mess. I mean, they didn't clean up along the curbs when it was warm. I'm still upset, so that's a whole discussion.
Anyone else have any comments?
I think it's a good idea to do something like that, quite honestly. I don't see that affecting my business at all. I don't have parking in front of the store anymore anyway, so.
Right.
Yeah, right.
I
But,
think the only other business downtown that I can think of there are people that go to rehab, plus sometimes, I know my neighbor leaves by 6 and is parked there by 6, if not a little before. Go in, does her quick workout and then leaves, but I don't know what time they open, but I've seen them in there at 5:30 in the morning. I mean,
That and the yoga they're there pretty early, so it could be an issue.
And realistically, I don't know that you're gonna have an officer swooping in at
Right.
5:55 to ding somebody up, you know what I mean? I think it's giving us that general, that time frame to get in there. And if Ryan's, whether it's plowing or sweeping, and they're starting at 4, they'd be
Right.
in and out of that two block area long before that. I mean, it's just like right now with the snow emergency parking, right? Right now, technically in town, if there's 2 inches of snow in town, and there's 2 inches of snow, it is no parking throughout the entire town. Even after they've plowed in front of your house, it's still no parking in front of your house, because according to ordinance, until the entire town is clear,
Really?
you can't, that's the language we approved, and
Yeah.
that was already been in there. But we aren't enforcing that because that's not reasonable. I mean, if they've already cleaned up, go ahead and park out there. I mean, and we're clear with people on that. So I mean, same thing with that is I don't think that 5:45.
no, right.
People aren't gonna ever.
Just an example I was
Yeah,
giving.
no, I get it, yeah.
what do they do now to do that?
Go around it, yeah, and that's a big pain downtown.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the thought of having nothing down there, for, like you said, the couple-hour window where they could.
And there's more stuff added that I hadn't thought about that Brian had mentioned. Now, obviously there's trees that are gonna have to get watered, there's planters that need to get watered.
Right.
Apparently there's sealing now that we have to do on all that stained concrete. I mean, just the convenience of not having vehicles down there for a stretch of time would be helpful. And it's not just down there, it's the entire stretch of the project has that stained concrete now alongside of it, so.
Be a lot more efficient to have free
Right.
reign.
Do it all one time. Any other questions? We can talk about this again at the ordinance meeting. Any other questions before we move on? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to item number 7, Resolution 2026-01, calling for a public hearing on a property tax abatement, and that was in your packet also. Danielle, were you speaking to that?
I sure will. This is calling for a hearing on the 24th of February, which will be our last council meeting in February, and it is for the other half of the twin home over here that Mike Carlson built. We did the one half, but we needed to wait until it was actually split and a parcel number was assigned to it. Well, the county finally got that done. And so now, now that they've got that done, we can go ahead and do the other half. And so this is just starting the process of going ahead and setting a tax abatement hearing for the housing incentive program for February 24th.
Any questions for Danielle? Any questions? If not, is there a motion to pass Resolution 2026-01?
I'll make that motion.
Motions, is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. Let's go to item number 11, emergency management tabletop exercise, and I believe Chief Quayton is going to speak to that.
Mayor, Council, this is more of just a conversation at this point, see what the interest is for the council. Basically, the vision is that I believe we need to have some training on our emergency management protocols. Part of that, the easiest way to do that is to do a tabletop exercise. We're fortunate to have our county emergency managers willing to come in, help us walk through a tabletop exercise. I think there's, from my experience, there's people that might not even understand what our roles are, what everyone's roles are during a major event. Patrick's willing to come in, we'll set up an event, and he's kind of wanting input as to what the event would look like. Not the scenario, but what kind of information the council would be looking for. And I'll be honest, I kind of spoke for the council, unless the council has some other direction here tonight. I said I didn't want him to just kind of skim over everything, because my fear with that is that it might leave you wondering or concerned about what you don't know. So I would rather him come in and talk a little bit more in depth about the roles of the council, the roles of the city administration, my role, and what that would look like. The fire chief, public works, have all of our partners involved. Understand what their roles would be should we have an event, to hopefully put you a little bit at ease. I mean, we've been fortunate to not have any major event like that, but it's better to be prepared. So he is thinking it would be a 2.5 to 4 hour day. It's a little bit long, and again, it could be as short as that 2.5 hours, but we want to leave a little bit of time in there just to make sure that everybody is comfortable with the exercise. It would probably be an event that would happen during the day, and as much of the council that's able to attend would be great. If you're not able to make it, that's great. You know, it's we work with everybody's schedule. It's just so that the council, the city, the administration, we all have a little more familiarity with what things can look like. So.
Are you looking for topics at this point?
Well, nope, that would be the topic. He is going to actually, I'm going to allow Patrick to come up with the scenario.
Okay.
He's going to come up with a scenario. He already shot me 2 or 3 scenarios that he has used previously. Apparently, 10 years ago, he did one over in Battle Lake. 15 years ago, he did one in Henning. So
Okay.
he's done these before. So.
Okay.
I wanted to make sure that we had interest from the council, because if we decide we're going to do this and it's us showing up and the council is not interested in doing this, obviously it would have an impact on what that day would look like if we were to continue to move forward with it. So I believe, talking to Patrick, that if we're gonna move forward, we're probably looking end of February or March. He doesn't want to get too much beyond that because obviously we start having weather issues and schedules are a little less predictable at that point. There's a lot of schedules that we would have to coordinate with to try and figure out when we can make this happen. From y'all to Shad to, I mean, we've got to make it work with everybody's schedules. We want to have as many people there as that want to be there, so. I recognize there's a conflict with Dawn. I mean, it's hard for you to make something during the day, so.
Would you have anybody from the private sector involved, like large employers?
We can make this event as big or as small as we want, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Patrick's comfortable with that. So, and if the council thinks that's the direction we should go, that we try to get more people at the table, then so be it.
So this evening, we are not, even if we say go ahead, we aren't setting a date at this point?
We are not setting a date. He's got a list of conflicts already, so
Okay.
I don't want to try and line that up tonight.
Right.
I think it's a good idea. I mean,
Yeah.
really good idea.
I have coverage on Mondays and every other Wednesday, so I could get away at those times.
Okay.
Are you looking for a motion or just a consensus?
I just want a consensus, or,
Okay.
you know, it's,
Okay. Is there anybody against it?
I think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
anything in particular that you'd really like to see out of it? I mean, I think there's enough probably questions that you probably don't even know what you need to know about the event.
Right,
So
right.
that's why we kind of want to have this happen, and, you know, we might become so good at it that we do a more advanced one in the future, so.
Right, right, yeah.
So like I say, and he was willing to really kind of do a flyover and barely even touch on exactly what things look like. And again, I think that could cause some fear because you're going to start having questions about, well, what about this and what about that? And so I just thought we'd be better to have him come in, talk to us, take some time, hash out whatever we need to figure out.
Great.
How about, is there a consensus as a morning better or an afternoon, or doesn't it matter to anyone?
5 a.m.
Perfect. That's what I would like,
I was joking.
as long as it's in February, not March.
Any other questions for the chief? Kimberly, do you have any questions?
No, I think it's a great idea. It's better to plan to know versus show up when a disaster happens and
Right.
everyone's looking at each other saying, what am I
Right.
supposed to do?
Right.
So, no, all for it.
And we did the tabletop exercise at the summit, you know, I mean, it's just kind of it. I think there's, even for people that do it, every time you go through a tabletop exercise, you think of something that you hadn't thought of before just because of the experience in the
Right.
road. So, all right, I will continue to move forward and work with everybody's schedules, and we'll try to
Yeah,
get something
keep us informed.
planned out, so.
Thank you, chief.
Thank you. I think Patrick's plan is to try to stick with a topic that's, you know, we're not gonna do a hurricane or.
Right.
We're gonna do a topic that he thinks that we would see here.
Right,
so.
right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Item number 8, administrator report. Lance.
Since the last meeting, attended EDC department head and ordinance committee meeting. Jordan and I met with the landowner about some plans for possible housing development. Met with the city engineer about water sewer infrastructure possibilities for that new development. Completed Brian's performance evaluation. Attended the monthly MCMA meeting with area administrators. Attended the EDA annual meeting at the library. Met with people service representatives, and we worked on the chloride reduction annual report. Danielle, Todd, and Jordan and I met with the new city attorney about nuisance properties, storage in commercial zones, short-term rentals, and the requirement of enforcing the building code. Brian and I met with Bob today about the lead service line replacement program, and then I continue to work with Deed to try and get that final pool reimbursement for that pool grant. Any questions?
Any questions for Lance?
Thank you.
Thank you, Lance. Item number 9, Mayor's Report. Just a couple items since the last city council meeting. I attended part of that city ordinance meeting, which was on January 14th, and yesterday met with Administrator Roysum to plan the agenda for this evening's city council meeting. Any questions? Seeing no other business on the agenda, is there a motion to adjourn? Second?
Second.
Motion second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, the same? Meeting adjourned. Thank you.
You got me.
Yeah.
You got me.
Check your time.
35.
Yeah.
Check your time.
Yeah, he got me. He got it right on the money, I think. He said 40, right?
Yep.